Hello everyone, welcome back to DevOps Codex. In episode 4, you learn how to use the basic Docker CLI commands and explore the images like Alpine and Nginx. Today in episode 5, we are going to answer a fundamental question. What is the question? What is the real difference between Docker image and Docker container? This is where most of the big nerds get confused, but not you. Let's break it down. So first of all, we will understand what is the Docker image. So Docker image is nothing but it is like a blueprint. It is a read-only template. Read-only template. It contains everything. It contains everything needed to run an application like code, dependencies, libraries, environment variables, everything. सो एक एप्लीकेशन को रन करने के लिए जितनी चीजों की जरूरत होती है कोड से लेके डिपेंडेंसीज लाइब्रेरीज इन्वायरमेंट वेरिएबल्स एवरीथिंग किसके अंदर आता है डॉकर इमेज के अंदर आता है builds in layer. So here you can see we have the docker file. You can see in image we have the docker file. In docker file we have written the step by step instruction. So all these instruction is nothing but it is kind of a layer where each instruction in a Docker file add as a new layer. For example, if we will let's pull a Docker image. Docker pull Ubuntu. Okay, so what it is going to do? It will be download the Ubuntu image from the Docker hub. The version will be the latest one. Okay, let Docker images. Let's see what are the images are available. You can see here we have the image of Flask. Okay, and you can see we have Ubuntu and some other images we have. Okay, and let's talk about. So as of now we don't have anything, only we pull that image. अभी कुछ भी हमारे पास रन नहीं कर रहा है. You can see here nothing is running. Okay, this downloads the Ubuntu image from the Docker hub and it is just like a file, not running anything yet. Okay, so let's talk about what is the Docker container. Docker container is nothing but it is a running instance from a image. Think like this, image is a class and container is a object that is running. Class is definition and image is sorry class is definition means image is definition kind of template and container is nothing but it is kind of object which is running. When you will run this, when you are running the docker run command, let's see docker run hyphen it. I want to run it in interactive shell, that is why I'm passing the uh, flag hyphen it, and let's pass the image name Ubuntu. Okay, so you can see here we are inside that Ubuntu uname hyphen a cat slash etc os release. You can see here we are inside the Ubuntu image that's we run. Now it is the container. Okay, now we run the containers. So you created a new container from the image which we entered. Okay, entered in the sense we pass the image name Ubuntu. तो यहाँ पे इसने क्या किया, एक कंटेनर को रन किया. वो कंटेनर किसका था, किसका है, Ubuntu image का है. Okay, and we pass the IT, we interactively we entered inside the Docker container. So a containers are isolated process. It is the isolated to each other from each other, have their own file system. Every container having own file system, and it is a mutable. You can't write the changes inside the Docker container. I hope you guys understand what is the Docker image and what is the Docker container. Okay, let's talk about Docker. What is the major difference between Docker container and Docker image? So first of all, we will test the nature. The nature of Docker image is read-only template until unless we are not creating any container with the help of that image. And Docker container is nothing but it is kind of running instance in a nature. If we're talking about the state of our Docker image, that is the static only. But in case of Docker container, it is the dynamic, can be changed. And execution is we can't execute our Docker images. But in case of Docker containers, we can execute. We can go inside the Docker container and check the details. What are the applications are running? What are the processes are running? How much CPU it is utilizing, memory, check the logs, everything. What we are doing inside the VM or any kind of EC2 instance or server. If you talk about the life cycle of the Docker image, it is exist in disk. But in case of Docker container, exists in memory while running it. And how you will create it? Next question is, to creating the Docker image, we are running the Docker build command. But in case of Docker container, we are passing the Docker run followed by the container name and container uh, image, okay, from which you want to create the Docker container. So let's do one thing. We have the Docker image, okay, one second. Yep. Hmm. We have Docker image. Docker image, which Docker image we are talking about? Ubuntu, which we downloaded, okay. And let's see if it is running. Docker ps, nothing is running. Let's do one thing. Let's pull a Docker image of nginx, okay. Docker pull nginx. What it will do, it will be go to Docker hub and download the latest version of nginx image. So it's downloading. Now it's got downloaded. The next is I'm going to run a web server with the help of nginx image. So Docker run hyphen d hyphen hyphen name web and image name the is nginx. You can see here Docker ps, sorry, typo error. You can see here we are running the nginx web server, okay. Let's do one thing. Let's inspect the Docker. Let's inspect the image first, okay. So we have the image. So how we can inspect it? Docker inspect image name, okay. You can see these are the details we are getting. We will go one by one, okay. So in case of image, when we are inspecting a Docker image, what is the syntax? Docker inspect and image name or image ID you can pass. And what you will get in output, you can see here, this is the output. Here we are getting the image ID. This is the ID and parent image, from which image it's got created and created time, OS architecture. You can see here architecture we are getting, and what is the entry point, what are the commands we are running, those things we can see here. You can see here, this is the image, this is the cmd commands we are running. Okay, and file system also we are getting, what are the root file system, these are the layers. Okay, and same way what we can do, let's inspect the docker container. Just now we inspected the docker image, let's inspect the docker docker container. So how we will inspect the docker container? As of now we learn how to inspect the docker image. The command is docker inspect followed by the image name or image id. Same way we have to do for docker inspect, and that container name or container id which we are running. So I am passing the container id. See, these are the details we are getting. So what are the output we are getting? In case of docker image, we got the image id. One second. Yeah, we got the image id, but in case of docker container we will get the container id. Image, it was created, it's created uh, with the help of this image, you can see here. Okay, and next is the status of your docker container, it is running or stop state or something, those things you can get. Okay, and next, networking things. Okay, all the networking like what is the ip address and rest of the things, which driver it is using, you can see here. Okay, those details you can also get. And next one is the mounts. What are the mounts are there, what are the environment variables are there, what are the processes configured, you can see the envs here, you can see the commands over here, these are the commands running inside that docker container. Okay, so these are the details you will get, you can see here, this is the ip address of your container. So all these details you will get with the help of docker inspect image or container. So we can inspect the docker image and containers both. Let's do one thing, let's check what are the docker containers are running. For checking the what are the docker containers are running, we can run docker ps, it will give you the running containers. As of now we are running only one. And what are the stop containers are there, if you want to see everything, you can see like this. Okay, so it here its status is up, and second one ubuntu status is exited 5 minutes ago. So let's do one thing, let's stop and remove the docker container. How we can do that? With the help of docker stop followed by the container name or container id, we can stop it. You can see here, if I am running the command docker ps, it will not show anything. ps hyphen a, it should show. You can see here both docker containers are in exited state. And let's do one thing, let's remove these containers. How we can remove that? Docker rm followed by the container name, it will remove the web container. You can see still ubuntu is there. If you want to remove the ubuntu one, we have to pass the name of ubuntu. Okay, let me pass the container id, might be I am passing wrong name. See, docker ps hyphen a, nothing is there, nothing is in running state. So now you know, images are the blueprint and containers are the live running apps based on them. Okay, so in next video we will write a docker file for a python application. Okay, so that's it. in this video. If you like this video, please uh, like our channel and mm, comment in comment box if you have anything. If you haven't subscribed at our channel, please subscribe our channel. Thank you guys. Have a good day. Bye bye. See you.